How do we know in the animal studies it wasn't just the calorie restriction that caused the sort of longevity effect?
It was.
Oh, it was the calorie.
It was.
So what if I just restrict my calories instead of fasting?
Well, you can do that. I met a guy who was from the Calorie Restriction Society.
There's a Calorie Restriction Society?
Yeah, which is based on this research in animals where, think about it, if you eat a third less, you live a third longer. So for a human, that would be 120 years old. And I said, what do you have for breakfast? He said, well, I had 5 pounds of celery. And I'm like, okay, you go do that. I'm going to figure out another way. So you have to eat enormous amounts of like low calorie food just to feel full, right? That's why he had all that food. So he was starving. And there are a lot of downsides to starving. You lose muscle, which is necessary. There's certain things that go wrong. And so it's not really the optimal strategy. You want to do things that mimic starvation. So how do you mimic this period of starvation that causes something called autophagy, which basically means to eat yourself, to basically clean up your cells. It's like self-cleaning or self-repair, right? And so there's a lot of ways to hack that. You can do it by this longer-term overnight fast. You can do it by certain supplements and certain medications, like rapamycin is being studied for longevity, which is a drug that's used for cancer and for other immune-suppressing treatments, but it works on this pathway called mTOR, which essentially is the activation of cellular buildup. Right? It causes muscle synthesis. So if you want to build muscle, you want to activate mTOR with protein, which is good, but you don't want to activate it all the time. So this drug inhibits mTOR, which is what happens when you starve yourself. So it mimics starvation, and then you get this kind of benefit. Or drugs like metformin are being studied, which is another drug that's looking at how do we activate this longevity switch called AMPK, another pathway that's regulating your nutrient sensing. So when you don't have enough nutrients, this activates. But if we're running around eating, well, you can actually take this drug and it may have an effect. And there's a large trial going on now. I'm still agnostic about it. I'm neither pro or against it. I think the data's not in it for me to start taking it or for my patients to start taking it, but it works on some of these sort of starvation mimicking hacks, let's call them.
So starvation is good for us.
Yeah, I mean, yes,
moderation.
I would say you have to be careful because, people go really to the extreme. They go like, I'm going to not activate mTOR because activating mTOR causes me to age faster and it prevents autophagy and it builds cancer and it's bad. So I'm going to become a vegan and I'm going to eat less calories. And eventually what happens is you lose muscle. So it's like Goldilocks. You need both mTOR activation and mTOR inhibition. You need to take a breath in, you need to take a breath out. You need to be awake, you need to go to sleep.
Yeah,
that's how your heart needs to beat, it needs to relax. It's just how the body works.
It's a difficult conversation as well because it can provoke disordered eating.
Yeah.
Various eating disorders, which are obviously extremely bad in terms of health outcomes.